Hello and welcome to the Enspiral External Update, December 2020. I am your host and Enspiral Catalyst, Joriam. This series of videos is here for you who's interested in Enspiral and want to know what we're all about, what's up, what we've been up to. This is series exactly for you. Here we don't talk about the big ideas of Enspiral, we talk about the day by day of Enspiral. What are the things we've been currently discussing? What are the things that we've been writing? What are the things that we've been talking about? So without further ado, let's go for the biggest network updates, and actually an invitation today, because our Enspiral Summerfest 2021 tickets are online. Unfortunately, I know, only for people in New Zealand, because as if you don't know, the New Zealand borders are completely closed. Nobody can go, no exceptions. So if you are in New Zealand, you're able to go. If you're not, then I'm sorry. I'm not in New Zealand, so I'm very bummed about this. But yeah, what to do? But if you are in New Zealand, if you're interested in Summerfest, this is a perfect opportunity to get your early bird ticket with a discount. And buying early birds is super important for us. We want to understand how many people are going to show up. We have a decent idea of the people within our network, but we don't outside of our network, especially in a year like this year that everything is unpredictable. So if you are interested, please buy your early bird ticket. This would help the team very much indeed. Second thing is that we have a new website online, yes! And you will notice that is very similar to the previous website. I know. But the thing is that it's a back-end difference. This new system that we're using is much easier to edit and to add more stuff to the website, change stuff that is on the website. So it's going to be useful in the long run. But it does look good. It has nice images. Yeah. Looks great. There might be a couple of little things that are not working yet. If you find some of those out and you want to send me, that would be fantastic. But yes, new website, yeah. Okay, what have we been talking about? What have we been writing about? And today I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try something for the first time, because there's one update is a little above the others, honestly. And sometimes there's something like that. There's somebody who did something really big, and I ended up putting here, and I feel bad. You know, this update is bigger than the others, deserved a little more space. So I'm trying something different, because Susan Basterfield released her new book. She co-wrote a book with a couple of people, and it's a super interesting process, and I think it's relevant to a lot of people who watches those videos. So I recorded a quick interview with her. I recorded on Zoom, but I asked her to record on her phone so the audio quality is better. And now I'm gonna play this 5-minute interview to you so you know all about this book, and then we carry on with the rest of the video. Okay? With you, Susan.
What led you and your other co-authors to create this book? What was the journey that ended up there?
Yeah, it's been quite a long journey. So it's been a journey of about 5 years that started with, I think, each of us individually, and as many of us in the world did 5 years ago when Reinventing Organizations was published, read the book, got incredibly... I mean, maybe inspired is the right word, but for me, it was more of a sense of relief. It's like, okay, right, here are some full-fledged examples and evidence that we in organizations don't need to work in and through the systems that we inherited that were designed at the end of the Industrial Revolution to control and privilege the few. And how interesting is it that so much progress has been made in almost all other facets of business and the way that we organize, but we never actually question the systems that all of that hangs off of. And to see and read examples of organizations all over the world in all kinds of different industries actually manifesting a new way of being in the workplace and working together was incredibly interesting and inspirational. And our friend and colleague, sometimes colleague, Victor Vorsky, was one of the co-founders of a Facebook group called Teal for Startups. And so I think that the invitation there gathered a lot of energy around people like us, entrepreneurs, founders, people working in small organizations that wanted to create the conditions for a more participatory workplace to be real from the beginning. But there was no guidebook to do that. So that was one of the original ideas of what the Teal for Startups community was going to be. And it was activated and really active for some months, but for one reason or other, it didn't actually manifest what we thought it might. But there were three of us that kind of kept carrying the torch. That's myself, Brent Lowe, and Travis Marsh. And so gone from producing a pamphlet to go with our speaking spot at South by Southwest, where our friend Samantha Slade from Percolab and Edwin Jansen from FITSE and the Ian Martin group really started to energize that community around the potential of more participatory workplaces. Then feeling like the pamphlet was shitty, so we needed to write a real book. That's where the first Reinventing Scale-Ups book came from. And then just really sitting in that and just also feeling like so many more stories and so many more examples could be super useful in a way that could reach more people. So we were fortunate enough to find a publisher, and for the last 2 years have worked kind of tirelessly on the book that became Lead Together, The Bold, Brave, Intentional Path to Scaling Your Business. So that's how we got from there to here.
Cool. And tell me, Susan, who is the ideal reader of this book, the perfect person to pick it up, and how would they use it? In which stage should they pick up and use it?
Yeah, so I guess we just say leaders of any stripe, right? But principally organizations of less than about 200 people would be the primary candidate. We were very privileged to have Frederick Laloux himself give a testimonial, and I think his testimonial, if I was building a different kind of organization, I would take this book on my journey and go back to it all the time. So I think that is a really great articulation of Lead Together as a guidebook. There's 27 chapters that touch on every element that we thought was important to pull out in terms of what organizations need to be thinking about if they do really want to create workplaces that are more human, more life-giving, and really challenging the systems that we've inherited. So if I want to get more specific than that, organizations that have reached that kind of critical point of 10 or 15 people, they're already sustainable, but they know that those intimate relationships of startup world aren't going to stretch to be able to allow the organism to do what it needs to do in terms of manifest its highest potential. And that's just I just have to name check our friend Douglas Rushkoff, because scaling for us isn't about scaling profit necessarily, but it's about creating the conditions for the uniqueness of whatever your organization does to be as vibrant and as bold as possible.
Thank you, Susan. And we are back. The link for the book will be below, and in this link you'll find all sorts of places where to buy a book. We recommend you to buy in your local store. On the website, actually, there is on the section here on the buy the book, there is a section that tries to give you tips on where to buy this on your local bookstore. And also, if you like audiobooks, there's an audiobook being produced soon. Very soon it will be released. And congratulations again for your book, Susan. It's super cool. Now, very ironically, after I had already recorded an interview, Anthony Cabral posted his new book that he wrote and released very recently. But I didn't have the time. I had already recorded the other interview for a week. I didn't have the time to record this new interview. But I know all about this book. It's a book about mindfulness. It's fully illustrated. I'm probably gonna record an interview in the next episode but it's super cool because it's extremely visual and still talking about very abstract things about behavior. I wholeheartedly recommend. This is a labor of love. I read the beta book and it's fantastic. And those two books are good ideas for Christmas gifts. Wink, wink. Okay, I'll get back to your book next month. Okay, Ants. Cool. Bunch of articles. First one is by Silvia Bastos, and she's writing about an experiment where she ditched all the chairs in her house, which is not a metaphor. She actually did it, and she's loving it. It's an experiment with her body and her concentration. It's a part of her life journey right now. And if you are aware of your body, especially in those corona times, I do think is a powerful read. And as you can see, it's pretty playful, as everything by Silvia is. She carries this playful energy. Chelsea Robinson gave this interview for the Edmund Hillary Fellowship, which is that I don't know if you know about that. There's this institution that brings talents and great minds to New Zealand and gives them like a citizenship. And this is part of their onboarding program. And she's talking about how to leverage this unique position that New Zealand has in the world to boost technology and innovation, and exactly what the fellowship is about. How to foster all of those brains in this particular place that is isolated but has this like a special characteristic that brings people together. A very cool interview. Unfortunately, just on Facebook, so you need to have a Facebook account. But I'll link it below. By the way, all the links will be below. Don't worry, just in the description of this video here, okay? So this is a project that I'm involved with. It's called the World Media Academy, which is part of the SciFi Economics Lab. And basically, it's a place where economists and writers and all sorts of people interested in the future of humankind can get together to use science fiction as a framework and try to imagine vastly different economical, political, and cultural systems that we could have in the future, and use this imagination to perhaps inspire people to create something that looks completely different from what we have right now. Because what we have right now is not working. So we need a framework on how to imagine different futures. I'm going to link this video below that explains the basics of the project very in a very simple and a little bit narrative way. And the description of this video will have all sorts of relevant links if you want to engage with this project, which is pretty cool, full of amazing people. Oh, and it happens in this platform here called Edge Riders, which is a platform that shares some values with Enspiral. Honestly, just having a look at the platform itself, or it has a lot of values, pretty cool, and it works as this sort of forum, as you can see. All right, we have a bunch of rich stuff today. If you don't know, Richard Bartlett is one of our most prolific writers, but he really knocked it out of the park this time. He wrote a lot to give a lot of interviews. So let's go for a rich rundown. First of all, he hosted a gathering, a physical in-person gathering during a pandemic. So in his article, this article here, he explains what was all the whole thought behind it and what was the risk calculation. There's a lot of really cool sources here that he linked. I've been using those sources because he showed me that back when he was still planning this. And I found them like incredibly useful, and also like the way that Rich understands this data was also super useful for me. Highly recommend, especially if you're thinking about in-person meetings of any kind, even Christmas. This might present some useful knowledge for you. Cool. I don't know if you know, or if you don't know him at all, then you don't know. But he's a kind of a Twitter guy. He has a thing with Twitter, and he started this thread, which is like people falling in love and getting disappointed with community, but more specifically with Enspiral, and it sparked a lot of conversations, a lot of replies. There's a lot of interesting links in the following tweets, because it's a whole thread. It's not just a tweet. There's far more in here, and yeah, I do think this is a very interesting conversation. If you Also, well, if you want to prevent being disillusioned by any community at all. We're still on Rich, eh? There's a lot of Rich stuff today. So Rich gave this his interview Q&A convo thing about collaborative governance and self-organizing for the future thinkers. It's a really cool channel. Wonderful topics, deep conversation. Like they had the time to go deep into the conversation. Pretty cool. And we're still rich. Nance Nair, who is another Enspiral contributor, she interviewed Rich for her master's thesis, which is about design. But they're talking about this new kind of relationships, this new kind of kinship being formed. And it's a great conversation by two people who are high context in those themes. And we're still Rich. Rich wanted to share this project that he's advising, which is a tool for people, for everyone to crowdsource a global agenda. What do we want the people in positions of power to really talk about and really discuss? So they created this is not only a proposal, but like there's a proposal on how to get there, a network of global deliberations, what they're calling. It's pretty cool how it works. Link below if that sparked your curiosity. Oh, now I have two offers from Mihao. So Mihao has this practice, but also this company that is all about forming habits, and he has two offerings here, two courses that are different in nature but sort of move towards the same direction. First is this boot camp about morning routines, which is short and sweet, very intense. Do you want to start 2021 with a new morning routine? Here's a method and how you get there. And there's another version of that same energy, which is much longer, much more in depth, which is this rock solid consistency practice course. It's supposed to last for a full year, and it goes deeper and slower than the other one. And the idea is that you're going to choose 3 foundation habits for next year, and by the end of the year those are going to be part of you. So very cool. Congratulations, Mihao. Really cool courses. And if anybody wants to have a different 2021, a more focus on 2021 in different things, maybe more focus on your family or your work or your artistic projects, that's a wonderful opportunity. And Itamar wrote this article, which is actually a summary from Barry Johnson's new book, which is about polarity management, which in itself is a very interesting concept. And I think Itamar did a great job of summarizing this and like I haven't read the book, I haven't read Barry's book, but I understood everything he was talking about, and the concepts here are fascinating. So if you are a systems thinker, I think you'll be interested too. And now for a moment of Zen, and I want to show something beautiful to you today. This one's real good, which is email a dumpster fire. And the idea is the instructions here are on the top right. And basically, if you're really disappointed with an email you got, you can send it to this email here with a certain formatting. They will print your email, and you will see your email going literally into this dumpster fire live. You can watch and see your worst nightmares being destroyed right in front of you. See, this is happening live. Which I think is just a wonderful project to exist in 2020. Thank you so much for creating this weird thing. I love it dearly. And with that, folks, I leave you for this video and this year. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful, wonderful New Year, and that 2021 is easier, less stressful than 2020. Thanks very much, everyone. See you next year. Ciao, ciao.